What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of the P-Funk and Fro Show. My name is Austin Flew, with me, as always,
Anthony Gorman.
It's going to be an interesting episode for you folks. It's been 20
Oh, my God. Years.
episodes.
I mean, yeah.
Years.
You said years earlier. Yeah.
I did. It's been 20 episodes. Can you believe we made it this far?
It's felt like 20 years. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Thank you for joining us. It's been a fun ride.
Honestly, like, even though we paid for the service, because it was cheaper to just pay it all outright for whatever.
Let's tell the story here in a minute.
Okay.
Let's tell the story here in a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, before we start, a few plugs. Facebook.com/group/PFunkandFro. Join us in the group. Leave comments. Talk about us. I'll leave polls occasionally.
Do it. Reread it.
Meet some friends in there. It's really cool. At PFunkandFro on Twitter. Big thing that I want to talk about on this podcast, this being the 20th episode, which is kind of a big thing for us.
Yeah.
I want to tell the origin story of this podcast.
Okay. Oh, that makes
and I want
sense.
to talk about what it means to us.
That's
and
good.
I want to say some of the favorite moments.
I'm going to get sad.
I know. Don't get sad.
I'm just kidding.
Don't get sad.
I'm not sad. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Except now I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, now you sound sad. No,
so, Anthony.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and start. So, do you remember when this podcast started, how it started?
Well, I think it was just the flow of conversation at work.
Yeah.
On our breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because we would dart from subject to subject seamlessly, and there was no pause, there was no awkwardness. It was just from video games to electronics to like cars to current events. Not so much current eventsy, but just
whatever.
Everything we're into, and it doesn't matter if the other person was like super into it, like whatever.
Yeah, I remember the exact day. I was like, we were talking about the Oculus Rift or something like that. It was when you were waiting for the Oculus Rift to come out, and I was like,
way into that.
Anthony, what are we doing not having a podcast?
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
That's the exact thing I said. And then we finally set a date. We tried it out, and it went surprisingly well.
Yeah, the first time actually seemed... But it's interesting you brought how I was talking about my past whatever. That kind of makes sense because I've kind of been putting myself out there for a while. Now that I think about it.
You have, yeah.
So
isn't that crazy? And if you go back and listen to the different episodes, you can kind of see where we were mentally at that point.
That's true. I mean, it was still early on, but
I
don't know. It was pretty smooth, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. So, origin story being told.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about kind of the subscription service or whatever that we used.
How we bought it long term just because it was cheaper that way.
Yeah. So did we do that in a meeting the same day we recorded the podcast? Or
No,
I
thought
we did that
here.
Did we?
We did that here after one or I can't even remember.
We used SoundCloud at first.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
The first 2 or 3. Yeah.
The first 2 or 3 episodes.
We kind of figured early on that we were going to need something more centralized that can go out to all things. Mm-hmm. I think, because I remember at work we were talking. I was like, Austin, I'm sure I can find a service or we can Google something for $5-7 a month that just does this. I'm sure it's out there. It's the flipping internet. And then I think it was a quick Google, and then later that day or a couple days, I think we bought it here.
The same exact day. Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at it. Yeah, we set it all up here. But
yeah.
Now looking back, it was kind of quick progression because the first couple was SoundCloud, and all of a sudden, once we got Podbean, then it was now we could, I don't know, it was easier, it seemed like.
Yeah, well, the problem was we were using SoundCloud, and then if you don't pay for SoundCloud or whatever, you hit a cap.
I forgot about that. Yep.
So most people that use SoundCloud use it for music, so they only put up 3, on average, minute songs.
Yeah.
And the cap is probably 3 hours. So really, if you're only putting up songs, 3 hours total if you don't pay for SoundCloud.
Yeah.
We hit that cap in 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
that's
I remember
amazing.
I was trying to post the 3rd or 4th episode, and I was like, Anthony, it's not posting. We hit our cap. So for that time, I had to use a second SoundCloud account to just get it up.
I forgot all about that. Yeah. It was
that whole
Danger Man.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember that.
That's what really turned the tide for Podbean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I like Podbean. Looks good.
I did too. It's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
So we basically just upload our episodes, and we had to get it approved with iTunes and Google Play and everything. Yeah. But now when we update our feed, it just updates everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't even have to worry
and
about anything
we can see
views
and stuff just over time. So we don't know who exactly, but
yeah, we know.
We see if one episode was more popular, title wise.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about findings based on those analytics. So we haven't delved too much into the analytics but there are a few standout facts that are pretty apparent. We always get more views when we have a guest.
That's true, and I think the big part of that is tagging someone else in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And but also people are like, oh, what's this new person? But really, I think it's like that new guest person's people.
It is.
Like, what the hell?
It is. It is. Especially with the Dave episode.
Oh,
we tagged Dave in that podcast. The Dave episode is the most listened to episode of the P Funk and Fro show. By far.
And that, okay. Yeah.
By far. Even like the first episode. So whenever you put out a new show or a video or anything, people are going to watch it just because they're curious, because they're like, oh, what is this? What are they doing?
Right.
So that's why a lot of our work friends listen to the first episode. A lot of my friends listen to the first episode. Yeah. And then it tails off because people don't want to stick with it's an hour every week, you know. People have other things. And if they're not like super absorbed into it, they're not going to commit to that hour every
plus,
week.
like a lot of people, so podcasts are way more popular than what they were when I remember them first hitting the scene back on the internet.
They are.
Like, because so many like famous people do them now, and comedians and stuff like that, and like the gaming industry has like tons that are like super popular.
Yeah.
So a lot of people probably have listened to podcasts, but they're not like super like, oh, I'm a weekly person.
They're not like hardcore podcast people.
Yeah, where like I listen to Joe Rogan. I'm sure you listen to like a couple here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's kind of that. Plus, like how you said, like an hour is kind of a lot, even in a week.
Yeah, I remember when I listened to my first podcast, I looked at the time and I was like, this is an hour long? It looks insurmountable the first time you see it.
Right, and Joe Rogan's is 3 hours. So you can imagine, because at first I was like, I'll give him like 2 episodes. And I was like, I'm hooked.
And now you're hooked, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he does multiple episodes a week.
He does like 3, sometimes 4 3-hour episodes. He has his own studio in like a strip mall.
Yeah.
That he does just for podcasting. He has an employee just for his editing and like the machines behind it,
which is insane. Which like says a lot about how much revenue he must get from advertising.
Right. I think the advertising just pays for all that. He doesn't really get any money from it. Like he advertises his own companies, like Onit.com and stuff like that. So he gets like some residual things, like through other channels. Mm-hmm. But I think I remember him saying that his advertising basically just is an upkeep.
I see.
Because he doesn't really, he does so much with his comedy and UFC and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he
does so much stuff.
Getting money.
Yeah.
And he's got his old show in syndication. So
old show?
Yeah, news radio.
Oh, I
always forget he was on it, but yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. So it is. Yeah, it's interesting to think back and think about like how it started and where we've gotten. Really, where do you see this going next?
I like you've mentioned off air, like the guest, I think is definitely something that I hope we can continue moving forward. Not necessarily like always a new guest, but like just having different people on. Not that our conversation I don't think are not interesting or anything.
Right.
But it helps just having like a new perspective.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah, and then there's like the 3, I don't know.
3-person dynamic. Yeah, you don't, honestly, like, if you look around and listen to podcasts and big, famous, special podcasts that a lot of people listen to, you don't see many just 2-person podcasts.
Right, but like there are some just one.
There are, what is it, Bill Burr?
Bill Burr, yeah.
Bill Burr has a 1-person
Which is
podcast.
excellent.
Because Bill Burr is a phenomenon.
Yeah,
he is awesome. A human being that exists like 1 out of a billion human beings.
What's his wife's name?
I don't remember.
Mina. Maya, I think.
Something like that. He's always called. He's so fun. Yeah, He's an amazing human being.
Yeah.
So he can get away with only being 1.
Right.
But it's that you don't see most podcasts that I listen to have 4 people or 5 people.
Wow.
Because it's just so like when you have 1 or 2 people, like we run into the thing every once in a while where it's like, okay, it's just me and you. We've already talked about everything that we want to talk about. Like, what else is left? And we kind of run into issues sometimes where it's
every
like,
once in a while.
Occasionally, honestly, we have conversations about anything. We can talk about anything. But we do run into situations where it's like, okay, are we kind of spent for the day?
Yeah.
And we still have half an hour left?
Yeah.
So it's all good. It'll work itself out.
Okay.
But when you have 4 or 5 people, it's just like, it's a lot easier.
Well, because someone's always going to be like coming up like, oh, I'll wait till they stop talking. And, not like bad, but like, and then they'll interject and then they'll bloom other things. But that happens kind of like in real life. So if you're just like hanging out with one other person, it's kind of like the 2-way street, back and forth.
Yeah.
Whereas 3, like you said, 3 to 4 people, it's more like a roundabout.
Exactly.
Like people are coming in and out, and like some cars are waiting for the whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's that whole dynamic. So I think, I like both, but yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan has just two usually besides his Jamie, his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
But with his, it's a new guest every time.
Right. So he's always got fresh ideas and fresh questions to ask them.
Different people feeling them out, and then it's just different, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's same but different. So
yeah, it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm proud that it's lasted so long, that we've been able to make this work for as long as we have, because it's difficult to have a 2-person podcast, and we do it pretty seamlessly, I think.
And it's like once a week, and it's not like we're, I don't know, like traveling nomads where we're constantly like, oh my God, you should have this one incident at Taco Bell, exactly. You have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we make it work, and I'm actually like really proud of that. So sometimes I go back and I look at the catalog of stuff that we've done, and it's just, I say catalog, it's not like we've made like the freaking magnum opus or anything.
No. I know what you mean though.
Yeah, I look back and I'm like, we've done this long enough to create a cohesive product that we're going to be able to look back and listen to years from now.
Yeah, that's one thing, especially how I was...
Your West Coast trip?
Yeah, like when I listened to that, I was like, even like I was outside with the stars. I had a beer too,
Mm-hmm.
And I was just recollecting it, and it was before I even like started writing about it, and I was kind of listening to it just to like re-energize my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I was like, damn, I was like, I need to thank Austin for letting me like actually put that, because it was almost like pen to paper, but it was like mine to like, from start to finish.
Mind to mic.
And I listened to it, and like you said, I was just like, first thing I thought, I was like, I'm glad he like let me just rant about that. So happy. But the other, what quickly came later was like, I was like, oh, this is so awesome to have for me.
Yes, exactly.
So when I'm like older, like I don't even care if anybody doesn't even listen to it. But
right, exactly.
It's just, and it's going to be in my voice, and you'll be in it, so it'll be like, you know what I mean?
The most genuine representation of your emotions at the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because like you can write it down.
After,
it was right after. You can write it down, and you can kind of take memoirs and everything, but I feel like that is the most pure way to actually...
That's true, because it's not like I'm laboring over sentence structure and stuff like that, which I do. So
and I do too,
Yeah. No, that totally makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I like the medium.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. And like how we were talking off air or whatever, I've been doing like webcam things for a while, like way back in the day. So I guess I've been kind of into this kind of stuff.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
So I think the reason we work as kind of co-hosts or whatever, and why I thought we would work from the beginning is because like we have this what is it? What is the word I'm thinking of?
Je ne sais quoi.
No. Oh shoot. Two people going back and forth. Really?
Cohesiveness.
No.
Rapport.
Rapport.
Yeah.
Is it we have this rapport that's like, it feels so natural, and we just go back and forth so naturally.
Yeah.
So that's what gave me the inclination. But the more and more that we work together, more things come up that I'm like, wow, we've been doing things like this for a long, long time before we even started podcasting.
That's
like
true.
We have histories of doing things like this. Like go ahead. Like you were talking earlier about some things that you did, like precursors to the podcast.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like
years
webcams
ago.
were kind of cheap back then, and I can't even remember where I originally got one, but it was in college, and it was just when there was free services just coming out. It was before Google owned YouTube, and there was not really a ton of streaming, and I think it was Justin TV. Was the first one I don't
even remember Justin TV.
It was bought by Twitch real long time ago.
Gotcha.
Because I had a Justin TV, and I remember they were like, we're now going to Twitch, and I remember being like, what the hell is Twitch? And then Twitch turned out to be this huge thing, especially for gaming. So like Justin TV wasn't like a bunch of gaming. I think some people did start streaming on gaming. That's when it started getting like, no one ever really thought of game streaming like that. Why would people want to watch game streaming? So Justin TV just was a bunch of like interesting people or just like video blogs or really early on, because back in the day internet didn't have that much bandwidth, so it kind of looked shitty. And but like webcams were kind of cheap though, so I think I bought a webcam in college just because I like tech stuff. And then Justin TV was real rudimentary too. You had to like really find a webcam. There's no like one click software like nowadays, like I want to click this, and it just finds your webcam.
Yeah.
This you had to assign a camera to it.
Oh geez.
And yeah. So I would just keep it up all day. So it's kind of like this all day, kind of like Truman Showy type thing where there was just a webcam in my room.
You just like stream your empty room all
day? Yeah, my room may be empty. I may be like doing laundry or whatever. And I did this in college and at my parents' house when I was in summer. And then, I would talk to like girls online and it would, like Heather out west. But we did a lot of like Skype and things like that.
Yeah.
But on Justin TV, I would keep my webcam on and people could just see, and I would even write like notes saying at work until 8 and just put it up there because my parents were paying for the electricity, so who gives a crap. So it was like, my dad, if he hears this, he'd be like, what the hell? Is that why that cable, the bill was so freaking loud or
high
expensive that month? Yeah, because I would have my computer on just streaming video content. And so now that I think about it, because I would have like multiple people, like it was like chatting, but they in my little profile would have a link to my webcam. So I'd talk to random people and people I knew, and I wouldn't know who the hell was viewing me at any given time. I would kind of just see how many people were viewing me, but I had no idea who they were.
I feel like this is one of those stories that you tell people at work and they look at you like you're insane.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird back then too. And
you're basically inviting a bunch of strangers into your room while you do daily things.
Yeah, I mean, I would turn it off when I went to bed.
That's good. That's good.
Sometimes not even that. Yeah, it would just be a dark room.
I mean, you get the creepers that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like, I want to get the most people, so I'm going to be consistent and just have it on, so people be like, damn, this guy is always online. Yeah. That's why I was trying to go, try to get like, but again, there was no subscribers, so they would just have to like bookmark the link.
Remember the link, yeah.
Yeah. So this was like, so going back to what you said, I think I was nervous the first episode because I have like a fear of like talking in front of public, like public speaking.
Yeah.
Like in meetings, I can talk to people, up in front of like 1 to 20 people. Well, even people I don't even know, like job interviews and stuff. I don't really do that bad if there's just a handful. But it's like when we go to like auditorium, like in baby care, like our big auditorium on our site.
Yeah.
And if I have to have a microphone, like on that one big quarterly thing I had to present or whatever.
Yeah.
That is when I get like, oh, I don't like this. I get like real nervous. But like coming here, that first episode, it was just like, and I didn't even think about it until you mentioned, it sounds like we've been kind of doing this kind of stuff
for a while. So of course it's like natural for us because we've just been kind of putting ourselves out there. Now that you mentioned that for quite a while. Yeah, so you used to stream yourself all day, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you've done in the past that you would consider a precursor to this podcast?
Oh my God. So my best friend up the street at the time, Joey, him and I had
Joey?
Him and I had a fake radio, like Goofy,
oh my God,
on my Walkman.
There you go.
Or not my Walkman, by Home Alone. Do you remember Home Alone where that Macaulay Culkin had that Talk Boy, I think it was called.
Oh, shit, I've never heard of that.
It's got this little thing that records. So it's got a microphone on the front that extends out, telescopes out, and then it's got a speaker, and you can like rewind and like dub over things.
What?
I still have it too.
Dude, that's awesome.
I think it's called a Talk Boy. But anyways, we had it, and you would record it on cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And we had fake radio shows where we
basically
did this. We would have fake callers in.
Yeah.
Not Austin.
Dang.
Holy shit.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
I was doing this when I was 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
12 to 14.
That's what I'm saying.
That.
It's like it's just it's built in.
So yeah, I guess this makes complete sense.
So exactly, it totally does.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what did you start doing, like musical or like with things with music? Or
I mean, I've always liked putting things together and like making entertaining things, or things that I think are entertaining. So back in the day, I used to get this old digital camera that we had, my parents' digital camera, and he's showing me a picture of the Talk Boy. So this is your Talk Boy?
So that's a 90s, definitely. If people are by a computer, Google Talk Boy. So that is what Joey and I would record our first radio shows on.
I used to play ATV Off-Road Fury 2 on PS2, this quad game, and it had a dope soundtrack, and I would get something exactly like this and record the songs that were playing on the game.
Okay.
So I could listen to them in my dad's truck.
That's so
when he
crazy.
drove me around. Something exactly like this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so anyway, I used to make these videos with my brother, just like where we're just sitting around doing stupid stuff, little skits, basically skits.
Oh, that's, same thing.
And I still have them. I think I might have them on this computer, actually. If I find one of them, I'll put them in the same link as I do on this episode post.
Definitely.
Now I have to find them. So I've always loved doing stuff like that. I've always loved kind of getting in front of big groups and being entertaining, or quote-unquote entertaining. Okay. However entertaining I want to be.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
I've always kind of liked doing stuff like that.
Okay.
So the videos, and let's see, what else have I done? I've, performed some musical stuff before live. I always used to help, like, put together productions and concerts for, like, Christmas dances at my high school.
Okay.
So my senior...
And you've been in a band for a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in bands. I just always liked performing, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've just been listening to podcasts for, like, 6 years now at this time, so... It just makes sense.
It
just feels right.
And the fact that we never really talked about our past with these things until deep into
it. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't realize
deep into podcasting.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why the first episode was so like
it was so natural.
It was just like the kid brain just be like, oh, okay, now we're just talking about daily stuff. But
yeah. Well, that, and it's like we just pretended like we weren't podcasting. I think that's the key, is like if you pretend like you're not podcasting, and obviously I don't talk like this all the time in real life. Like,
Austin, are you sure?
Yeah, I don't walk into work every morning and I'm like, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Flume, and
and I'm here to work today.
Yeah, people would freaking throw me out of a window. But
like, why does this dude always introduce?
But basically, we basically just talk here like we do at work.
Yeah,
And I think that's why it was so easy to do the first episode, and why it's so easy to do.
That's true.
It's because it's just like we're having a conversation.
And the guests we try to get on, I kind of like try to say the same thing. Like, yeah, there's a microphone in it, but like we're doing eye contact. Really, you're just not seeing the other person's mouth, which is a little bit different.
Yeah,
just because of the pop filters.
Yeah, we got pop filters on that. Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, Melissa, as an example of like 2 episodes ago, she like took to it.
She jumped right
easy.
in.
Yeah, and Dave
as well.
Like he totally jumped in.
And Brittany.
So that's like all of our guests. So,
every guest.
So if other people, wink, wink, who are listening to this, wink, wink, and other people that today, wink, wink. I'm just all right. I'll stop harassing. Just to let you know. No,
it's pretty. Yeah, it's surprisingly easy. And when we started doing videos, I think we were surprised again at how easy that was.
That's true. I was worried about that again, and then again back to the webcam thing. I'm looking at it. I'm just like,
and it's like it was. Yeah.
I've been on camera to like random strangers before. I don't care.
Exactly. Oh shoot. Also, I had a different podcast for like a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right.
I totally forgot that other piece.
Yeah, because you were like, I had this one. It didn't last long.
Yeah.
And I kind of, when you said that, I was like, how you were building it up, like, oh, we have these fluid conversations. I was like, if we stick to like tech and what we're really into, I think he's right. Like, we will have a decent. But there was always that question mark. Who know? You know.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, I had another probably more salient precursor to this podcast, at least in my life.
The same structure almost, right?
Well, yeah. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Another podcast I had with my friends Dylan and Trey. Yeah. Shout out to you guys if you happen to be listening. We created this podcast called The Bread Pan Show.
Okay, yeah.
And it's basically a spin on the word deadpan. You like deadpan humor.
Yeah.
And the emblem that Trey actually drew, because he's an artist.
Yeah.
He drew this like loaf of bread with like game controls on the side of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was awesome. And we had a Twitter, and we had a YouTube, and there was a whole channel.
Yeah.
And they would make Let's Plays.
Okay.
Called like The Slice or whatever.
Which is like video games, videos of them playing video games and talking over.
Yeah, talking over them playing video games. But the podcast was the Bread Pan Show, and that was the bread and butter of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And it was just us 3 talking about video game news.
Yeah, you showed me video. Yeah.
And it's just like, I wasn't mentally ready at the time, I guess. Like, I feel like you have to be at a certain place in your brain, in your life, where you're okay with like talking to an unknown group of people that you don't know.
That makes sense.
And just speaking your mind and being comfortable with that. And I just wasn't at the time. So it was totally me why we didn't keep going. So we just...
Oh, really? Okay.
100%. Yeah. So that happened, and I was really excited about that, actually, but it just wasn't time for it
I'm
yet.
glad you're ready now.
Yes.
I mean, 20 later.
Right.
Which is still crazy to think about. That's
I still
20
can't believe
hours. That's almost a full 24-hour day.
Almost entirely.
That we've talked on,
You could almost listen to the P Funk and Fro Show for an entire day straight, ladies and gentlemen.
That's so weird to think about.
I know. It's insane.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cool indeed. That's why it's so serendipitous that we've ended up in this situation. It's because we both have these deep pasts with media and tech.
That's true. But we didn't discuss it prior. We weren't like, oh yeah, I've got a rich history with my talk boy.
No, yeah, I did exactly.
Like back when I was 12, nothing,
Yeah, nothing to brag
nothing
about.
glamorous, but it's kind of glamorous. No, I'm just
Yeah, so that's why I think it's so just perfect.
Yeah,
that
it
this
seemed
is
like it was like perfect. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah.
It
Have
just
you
came
ever
together.
have we ever talked about exactly like how we met before?
I think it was just work.
Just-
I think I like on here.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back with that. We'll
All
be
right,
back
that
with
makes sense.
This has been the P Funkin' Fro Show. We're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, how Anthony and I met. Whoop. When's the last time you had a chicken salad?
I have no idea.
Really?
I've had chicken and I've had salad, but not.
I feel like chicken salads are a thing that I never actually had until I moved out of my house.
Yeah.
Like, I just happened to be a situation where I had chicken and salad, and I was just like,
Yeah. Well, that's a thing. I mean, it's a popular dish. Right?
well, so
it's not like something weird like
no,
it's
it's not like I don't know.
anchovies and salad or something weird.
That'd be messed up.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about being moved out is I keep rediscovering foods for the first time that already exist.
Okay.
So like one night I was like, I'm gonna make some eggs. So I like cracked some eggs and I put them in a pan. And I was like, I'll have 2 more eggs. And I put 2 more eggs in the pan.
Yeah.
There's 4 eggs in the pan at this point. And then I'm like, all right, time to flip the eggs. And I flip it, but it only accidentally flips halfway. And I'm like, that's an omelet.
That's an omelet. You accidentally stepped into an omelet.
I did. I was like, whoops. Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
Did you regret not putting like ham and cheese in it, or
Well, I do that
or would
now.
you just like now get ham? Like, oh shit.
I do it now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was kind of funny. And the chicken salad thing, I was like, I got chicken and I got salad. I'm going to put it together. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a chicken salad. This is what people talk about.
Well, that one, okay. That one I think is a little less, well, maybe not.
It's less.
The omelet is a mistake. Like, oh, you just like stumbled into an omelet.
Like, I imagine that's the exact same way the first person discovered the omelet.
Omelet? This is like a half egg thingy. I'm going to start shoving meat and cheese
Make
in
it
this.
like a sandwich. Omelets have actually...
Make it a little pocket.
Make it a little nice pocket.
I love omelets, though.
I do too. They've become my substitute for bread in some aspects.
Okay.
So, like, instead of making a sandwich now, because I'm trying to be gluten-free and stuff.
Right.
So, instead of making a sandwich,
Yeah.
I'll just put everything that I normally would put in a sandwich inside of the omelet.
Because there's no, like, carbs and stuff in egg.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently, like, they're bad for cholesterol and stuff, but I don't know
Yeah, if
anything
you
about
eat a ton, I bet an omelet a week probably doesn't do that much.
And that's about what it is.
Yeah.
It's about what it is. So, I'll just make, like... I'll put the eggs out and I'll put salt, pepper, thyme.
Yeah.
Dude, if you're making eggs, you got to put thyme in it.
I think one of my first things I'm getting with the first grocery trip when I move out is thyme.
Yes.
Because you like constantly. What do you put? You put it on chicken?
Yep.
Eggs.
Yep. You can put it on basically anything.
I probably eat it at restaurants. And
I don't
don't
know
even
about
realize it.
beef. I don't know about putting it on beef.
Not
though.
beef. Maybe I
No.
should try it. Oh, man.
Anything with a more mild flavor. Beef, you want to be more salty, kind of.
Okay.
Or more.
Because usually I use Mrs. Dash, I think, which I got from my roommate Akil.
Yeah.
I love Mrs. Dash, but I think it's like the quick and easy way out of it, for spices, because it's just like just blam.
Yeah.
But they have like Mrs. Dash for all sorts of things, but
I
I don't know. It's really salty. I tend to overdo it.
Weird. Probably has a lot of sodium.
Yeah, I think it does. So maybe I'll go your route and just get like choice like herbs and stuff.
Yes.
So I'm actually kind of excited to start cooking. So
do it. I was excited at first too.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever you want to make like a healthier meal, chicken with salt and pepper.
Yeah.
You can actually completely get rid of the salt if you want to completely avoid the sodium.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel. I think you don't really care much about sodium probably.
No, I never really add salt, but I am getting like a Foreman, so I am planning on chicken's going to be a major staple for me.
Okay.
Then rice big time.
Okay. Then I would also recommend on top of the thyme also getting some rosemary, because if you put salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme, shout out if you use rosemary and thyme.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 kind of mainstays for chicken if you're not going to bread it. And even if you do bread it, you can still use these.
Okay.
And everything else you put on top of that is just additive. So you can top it off with maybe some garlic powder.
Oh, I do love garlic.
You can do that if you want.
Yeah.
You can do that if you want, but if you have the rosemary and thyme, it creates such a succulent taste, and it creates a specific aroma in the room that will last a long time after you've actually cooked the chicken.
So it smells like homey. And,
it smells, really nice and comfortable. Like, I'll come down to the basement after I've cooked and then go back up and be like, ooh,
this is like a home-cooked meal. Like,
and roommates will come in and be like, oh, wow, this is nice. What are you making? This makes me feel like a real cook.
So you're saying P&G should come up with some time for like the plug-in or like Febreze?
Oh, yeah, thyme-scented.
I don't know.
Rosemary and thyme. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's... I think it's the combination of the rosemary and the thyme.
And the... Yeah.
Yeah, because the salt and pepper are pretty, You can smell pepper too, but not
it's not
aromatic that.
Yeah, pervasive. Yeah.
So I recommend that. Welcome back, everyone,
Woo!
To episode 20 of the P Funkin' Fro Show.
Yep.
How do you season your chicken?
They don't even know.
How do you make
the
talking omelets? Will they? Who knows?
Yeah, they might.
Yeah. So if you listen to the first part of this episode, we were talking about kind of the milestones that we've encountered and just kind of reminiscing about podcasting in general, since this is episode 20 and it's big for us that it's episode 20. It's
yeah.
We're 2 decades into it.
We're two podcast decade. We're two,
almost
decades.
3 dog years.
3, huh?
Wait, a dog year's 7 years, right?
Well, yeah, but we're actually just hours though.
Oh,
so that's why I was like,
shoot,
how,
you're right.
So
3 dog hours.
We're like 1/3 gnat year. How long do gnats live?
It's time to move on.
Yeah, no, right.
Anyway, thank you for listening once again.
Jesus.
Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/pfunkinfro. Follow us on Twitter @pfunkinfro. We thank you for doing all of that. We appreciate all your feedback, and we appreciate that you've listened this far so far. We love all of you. We really, really do. We really do.
Course.
Deeply. From the deep core of
We're
my
not
soul.
in love with you, but we love you.
I'm in love with all of them.
Oh, Jesus. Maybe we should hash that out.
Yeah, maybe we should a little bit. So we were talking about the podcast, and we were about to get into how you and I met for the first time. So I kind of want to start in this one. I started this job that we are currently in August of 2014.
Right.
I didn't know you, I don't think, until November of 2014.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the job. I got my own work a little while later, and you actually ended up helping train me.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I remember I was sitting next to you. I was like, "What the?" I couldn't figure you out at first. I was like, "What the heck? I can't get a read on this guy."
Yeah. It was you and or someone else?
Shadowing you?
Yeah. I thought it was 2 people.
That was when Tyler and Angela were shadowing.
Okay, right. Or yeah.
Yeah, that was when they were going to take your desk.
Yeah,
they split it up.
In 2.
But this was before that. This is before they came in. Because they came in after I did.
Okay, yeah.
So I was shadowing you, and you're showing me stuff, and like I remember we started talking about tech stuff and podcasts, and you were like, you listen to Joe Rogan. I was like, oh, I got a friend that listens to Joe Rogan. What other podcasts? And we started talking about podcasts, and it's like we share a lot of interests, and this guy is really hilarious. And it's like,
thank you.
It's like this is an interesting thing. So kept going, and we kept talking, and just kind of snowballed from there, I think.
Yeah, I can be
I don't think I'm missing
kind of the
details.
goofball at work. Yeah.
And I remember you saying you remember me presenting my Foursquare, and it had video games on it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I cannot remember. I do remember thinking, I was like, oh, yeah. But I can't remember exactly what was on your Foursquare.
I remember exactly
what was it?
So before I met Anthony, all the new hires had to do this thing where we'd make a PowerPoint presentation, put like
a 1-slide thing.
A 1-slide, 4 squares, just our past, our history, and our interests.
Family, friends, or yeah.
Yeah, so mine was very short to the point. It was like, I've had one job and I like video games and music.
Yeah.
And I guess...
My name's Awesome.
Yeah, my name's Awesome.
P silent. Or the F silent. Or no, P's
the P is silent, Anthony.
Yeah.
But
I keep thinking of P-Funk, so I'm like, the P's not silent. P-Funk.
The hyphen is silent in P-Funk.
It's a damn silent hyphen.
But yeah, you looked at it and you were like, oh, likes video games.
Yeah, because that's kind of a rarity on the floor. I mean,
is.
there's definitely people now, but back I was working with like not necessarily older people, but the people around my age were not huge gamers, so that was different. Yeah. And I'm not like a giant gamer, I would say, but I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, it's like, mostly tech. For you,
right. Yeah, I'm mostly interested in tech. Yeah. Yeah. So and then I guess we started just talking, and it happened pretty quickly. I feel like
it did too.
The same with like the others, like
Patrick and Tyler.
Yeah.
We kind of just really naturally all started talking to each other and realized we were very similar.
And then started going to lunch and had the same humor. I think that was the big one.
That is the huge one too.
That's probably the biggest. I mean, besides commonalities
Mm-hmm.
in like subject matters that we're interested in,
Yeah.
like the humor,
Yeah,
I think is
it.
the glue that holds all of it together.
100%,
Like, for
yeah.
that group,
Agreed.
like because we always go to lunch and yeah, because if people knew the
subject matter,
alt universe type things that we come up with people, subjects, everything, because it's basically we come up with alternative universes.
We do.
Quite often with backgrounds and zany, like wild.
Oh my god!
I can't even get into
Get
it.
way too in the weeds with all of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's just so funny.
And we just like it snowballs and we build on top of each other, and it's like a race to the bottom.
And some of them just last for months. Like we
Yeah.
still bring them up, like it's
Yeah.
an old episode,
Yeah, exactly.
like a rerun.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
think
great.
you nailed it. I think that is exactly why that all of us click so much. Like not just you and I, but also like you're saying Patrick and Tyler. And
Yeah, there's
everybody else in that group.
Same humor.
Yeah, and I remember like meeting Patrick was kind of the same thing. Like talking to Patrick at first, I was like, I can't figure this guy out.
Yeah, I remember seeing him like from far. I'm like, he's kind of quiet. I know I can't peg him, but I don't even know how old he is.
Yeah.
You know, like it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and we've got that. Well, the thing about me and Patrick is like we both have that kind of really dry humor a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But we couldn't pick up on it when the other person was doing it for a while. So it's like,
yeah, because you're not, because everybody's in that like business mode.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah. So it's like, and this was my first business job.
Right.
So I was looking around like wide-eyed and like
I
bushy
know
tail. And I was
exactly
like,
what you're feeling.
this is an office. This is amazing.
Yeah.
All these people must be, and like I was the youngest one, so I was like, these people have probably had other office jobs. They're probably really businessy and stuff. And
Yeah, but
I was looking at Patrick, and it's like
Everybody's people.
thinking about that now. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but at the time, like I don't. That's just where my mindset was.
Yeah, kind of.
I've never seen anything else. I had no
Yeah.
idea how it would end up.
Yeah. Well, it's ended up pretty good, I think.
I think so. I think so in a lot of ways.
And it's been 2 years, which man, that was a fast 2 years because that did not seem
2
that
years,
long
dude.
ago. Because I've been in department 5 years.
Yeah,
And that's a big chunk of that time.
yeah.
So the time before, there is, I feel like there's a big distinction because a lot of people left that I got onboarded with. Different, not left the company necessarily, but
Left the
different.
department,
Yeah, left
Right.
the department or got like promoted to something else.
which is a common thing in the company.
Right. Yeah.
Hugely common. Expected.
So yeah, I think I was told my first year, like one thing with P&G is always expect change. Like just be ready for it.
Yeah,
And
that's a
that
big
is
thing that they
definitely true. Which
100%.
at first I didn't like it, but now it's because I don't know, you get ingrained in something that changes. But now I'm just used to it.
Yep, exactly.
I think Walgreens kind of opened me up to it because I would go to a different store every year. So it was like,
So yeah, you were kind of
I
getting used to it
kinda-
back in the day
yeah.
anyway.
right, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you said this has been like a really, really fast 2 years, like that's freaking some potent stuff right there. Because this has been easily the fastest 2 years of my entire life. Easily.
yeah, it's pretty fast for me, but yeah,
And I think back, like these last 2 years have probably marked the renaissance, like the second renaissance in my life
Okay,
of just change in general.
makes sense
Because-
this is a big
Yeah, it has. Because thinking back, like 2014 is really when everything started to shift.
yeah.
So like,
What's the first like bigger job, right, for you, and then like
well, a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So like for the first 2 years after, for the first 2 years after high school, when I was going through my associate's degree, I would just work for a steel mill over
Yeah.
the summer,
Yeah.
which was like whatever, and then I would go to a community college in the winter and the spring.
Yeah.
So it was pretty structured. It was basically still high school level of difficulty, just work, and I could still come home from work or school and chill and not really have any
And
stress. or
not,
anything.
yeah, it was one of those like leave behind type work. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way Ivy Tech worked, it's like you didn't have a class every day. You had a 3-hour class every week.
Okay.
So some semesters would line up such a way that especially my last one, I only had one class a month,
Oh.
and sometimes it got canceled.
Yeah.
So my last semester at Ivy Tech, I hardly ever even did anything.
Oh my god.
So
sounds like a lot of free time.
oh my God, it was amazing
Yeah.
until it wasn't. So it was amazing when I was getting up every day and playing video games all day
Yeah.
until I started to feel like an unproductive slug. Then
Then
I was like, I need something.
Yeah.
So that was the end of 2014. And then after that, I finished off my thing at the steel mill for the last time.
Yeah.
2014, the first time I ended a long-term relationship, got out of that.
Right. Yeah.
I had my
That's a big change.
I had my last spring break.
Oh, like travel or?
Well, so
Oh, I said like where it's just off.
yeah.
Like completely. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I was with the steel mill and
Yeah.
school, so I didn't really have a spring break anymore
Yeah.
after high school,
Wow.
obviously.
Yeah.
But after I worked for like a month at the steel mill the summer of 2014, I realized I got this job.
Oh, okay.
So I immediately quit the steel mill and had a whole month off to myself to kind of get ready.
That'd be nice.
Had my last spring break, started my first year-round full-time job, and at the end of the year, I ended it off by like organizing that concert.
Oh wow, okay.
For like the high school again that I went to. So it's like all this stuff happened in the same year, and it's 2014 will always like stand out to me as one of the biggest years of my life.
Wow,
definitely.
Man, I had 5 days off between jobs. I thought that was big.
5 days, yeah,
a month.
And it is.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, when you're used to only taking 5 days off for vacation, it was kind of like a vacation. But
yeah. Not to hijack it, but yeah. It's just been a really, really fast 2 years. And thinking back, 2015 year, I actually started traveling a lot. So
right. Yeah, so it's kind of like upward curve for you. So now you're doing like a bunch of outside of work stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And then 2016, obviously, if you've been listening to the podcast,
keep on running,
everything.
Austin.
I'm trying.
That's what I'm trying to momentum.
I'm trying. Yeah, and you do the same. You do the same crap.
Yeah.
You do the same crap.
Well, I've kind of started about a year and a half. Well, 2 years. Last 2 summers have been kind of like wild for me. Yeah. So I've been whatever.
Yeah.
This summer I'll be not necessarily traveling, but I'll be like in an urban. So I feel like I'm still gonna have like a lot of excitement.
You'll be in the urban. Why?
What?
Why will you be in the urban?
Oh, because I'm moving.
Oh,
yeah.
Moving.
Yeah. So I'm moving in 3 weeks, 2.5. 2.5.
Yeah, like 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks downtown Cincinnati.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be an amazing experience.
Pretty scoped. I signed the lease yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yes.
No, yesterday.
I have a place to stay.
Yeah. So I got that couch. I think we already talked about on Craigslist.
Yeah, that amazing couch
with that pull-out bed, so I can have guests over and they don't have to sleep on a couch.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So like the location's like prime for like walking. God. Even like you don't even have to ride bike. It's like walking.
Go downstairs and you're there.
Downtown, yeah, it's close to the business district and OTR with a lot of like quaint whatever bars and pubs and shops and
So for those outside of the Cincinnati area, we know we have at least one.
Oh yeah.
OTR
way outside.
Yeah. OTR is it's a place in downtown Cincinnati. It's actually over the Rhine.
Yeah.
And it used to be like a really horrible, like really rough, don't ever go there part of the city.
Yeah.
But they've reinvigorated it, and a lot of businesses have moved in, and now it's kind of a happening, like youthful place.
Yeah,
to go.
It's I wouldn't call it quite hipster, but it seems kind of like just.
I'd say it's kind of a new wave, maybe.
Yeah, where there's like different types of. I don't even know how to peg
There's
it.
a barcade, like a video game bar there, and
and like
there's a lot
Rook
of really
that we were talking earlier today, where there's got like video games.
A bar you can go to play like board games and stuff like that. Yeah, just really neat kind of new ideas for things that aren't necessarily chains.
And the crazy part is, for me at least, is I am born and raised in Cincinnati, and I've really like my close friends even know this.
Yeah,
they think it's crazy, and I think it's crazy just thinking about it. But I don't really have much experience with downtown Cincinnati. Now, I've gone to like Reds games, and I've been to OTR, but it's usually like I'm driving or riding with someone, so I never really drive downtown, and I never really come up with a plan. I just tag along. So it's always been like tag-alongs.
Yeah.
And I don't do it often, just because I don't know. I just never really preferred it until recently when I'm doing all these trips and like experiencing new cities. And I've like talked with people that like really love Cincinnati, and they've kind of like opened me up, and like the trip out west kind of like even opened me up even more from that, where it's expanded upon like I really want to get to know the city, because I really haven't. It's 34 years and I just have not gotten to know the city that well. So I'm really excited about that. And I'll get to experience it, and in the way that I loved so much out west, which is like on foot. So I'm like satisfying. I put out a goal in my head. I was like, I want to live downtown. My job's eventually going downtown. I want to be able to do exactly what I did out west, because that was so much. Like I figured out that is like I love doing that.
That's
like
what you want
biking
to do,
to work, biking to things, and riding. So the fact that that's happening pretty soon, even though winter's coming, I'll still be like walking around. But I think this winter I'm gonna be like, I cannot wait for the first spring day. I'm just gonna be like, biking around.
Even in the winter, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, because OTR from there is pretty damn close if you think about it.
Yeah, dude, you could walk to anywhere.
Right. So even in the winter, I think it's gonna be cool going to like pubs and just like hanging out and meeting people. And yeah.
Because it makes the destinations that much more cozy and sweet.
Yeah, and the place that I'm living in is it's this old building it's the oldest high school in Cincinnati that has been renovated into apartments, and they've kept a lot of the old like architecture and the stairwells and the big wide halls. So it's walking through it on my tour was really neat. It's like I think someone at work said it looked like Hogwarts when I showed them like all the staircases. Like it's big old wood,
and it totally does.
And they totally kept a lot of the aesthetics of that place, which is cool. And it's got like huge windows and super tall ceilings, and it's just like I was gonna get a studio there, and they were out of them, but they asked if I want to do a tour anyways. I was like, oh, now I'm just gonna like see something I'm really gonna like, but not whatever. So I fell in love anyways, and now I'm making it work. And so, God, so awesome. But that's oh man, I just cannot wait.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean, and like the last, I kind of came to the same realization recently that you came to.
Yeah.
Recently. Is it
the urban thing or?
Well, so it's the whole thing where I've lived in the Cincinnati area my entire life.
Okay.
But I've never really experienced that much.
Yeah.
In the downtown Cincinnati area. So I've went off and I've taken these vacations in like Boston and San Francisco and went
Chicago
off
and all
to go see all these big cities when I had this big city right next to me my entire life and never even explored it.
Right.
So it's like now I'm kind of making an effort to go and see more of it because I feel like living here now, and I don't live downtown, but I live in the Cincinnati.
You live decently close, much closer than I am right now. But
yeah, and I've got a Cincinnati address. So I feel like living here, I feel like I have to have a more well-rounded understanding of the city and its geography and how it works.
Well, crap, Austin. I mean,
now you live downtown.
I definitely want to be wanting people to hang out with. Yeah,
and I'll be there.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I was hoping for like
hang
out with other people.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so talking about that, we got there because we're talking about change, right?
Right. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that excites me about this podcast is I'm going to be able to look back and listen to where my mindset and where I was at each given week.
Right.
And I feel like we're going to be able to look at that progression, and it's just I'm very glad that we're doing this.
Yeah, I feel like looking back, I'll like shake my head like I cannot believe I even thought that. Or like or I'll move downtown and be like, I got robbed like every day. And this one bum stares at me every time I leave while he pees. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding.
He's depressed.
He just like stares at me while he pees. And I'm just like, why is it always just me? Look at that other person leaving the building. Now, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
I don't think so, but you never know.
It's a totally different from leaving a house, getting into a car, to driving, to walking to a parking lot, into another building. I think it's going to be vastly different.
I agree.
And then by the time I'll actually be working downtown, I cannot wait to be able to walk to work. I don't know why that excites me so much. I think it's because
it's freaking awesome.
In like Seattle and Portland and San Francisco, because I would be on the road, the street bike lanes, with all these people like going to and from work and just their daily stuff, and I'm like, these people are probably just commuting like they would their car.
Yes.
And you could just tell from like the tourist bikes to the pro, or the people that are like doing it just to commute.
Right.
And I was like, I want to commute like this.
It's because it's just so you don't have to deal with traffic, you don't have to deal with parking, you don't have to deal with any of that. It's just, and it's like a daily adventure. You get on your bike,
it's exercise.
You walk.
And it's flipping exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. I love walking in general, even when I don't have a destination. So to get to do that every day.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Yeah. So if when our jobs eventually move downtown, are you considering moving closer?
Yeah.
Like in the future?
Yeah, I'm thinking, even before we move downtown. So my lease expires in May, and we're moving in September downtown. We're moving downtown next September.
Oh, you and your other friends?
No, us as collectively.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so our organization is moving to downtown Cincinnati from its current location.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like when my lease expires in May, that's when I'll start looking. Or at least before that, I might get a place closer to downtown.
That's awesome.
At that time.
Right.
Which would put us both downtown.
Which is awesome.
Which would be dope.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So hopefully that happens. Yeah, hopefully that happens. We'll see.
That's exciting because that's coming up.
Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. And I don't want to live downtown forever. It's just something that I want to take a sampling of.
Yeah, I've been telling people
before I die.
I belong under the stars. Like I just know that.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely.
Yeah. But so I think that's kind of the vibe that I wanted to set with this episode, this reminiscent 20th episode of the P Funk and Fro Show.
Looking back, yeah.
Yeah, it has. We've only been doing it for 20 weeks, But at the same time, we've been doing it for 20 weeks and we haven't stopped. And we haven't missed a week.
Yeah,
we haven't missed a single week. You were even gone.
Yeah, for a while.
A week and a half, and we still didn't miss a week.
Right.
Pre-recorded. So I'm really proud of what we've been putting together. I know we've had some low points and we've had some high points,
and some wacky ones.
But like looking back, like I'm just proud that we've created a cohesive product.
Me too.
Cohesive package. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate the road that you've traveled with us to get to this point.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed what you've listened to, you can subscribe on iTunes, on Podbean, on Android podcast services that you have, Google Play, any of that, whatever podcast services you use. Facebook.com/group/pfunkandfro to join the group and meet some new people and weigh in on some polls when we post them. Follow us on Twitter at pfunkandfro. And we deeply thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we will see you next week.
And Austin's in love with you.
I am. I'm deeply.